Hello everybody, I got the chance to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 last night, and here's my unprofessional opinions on the movie. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Michael Rooker, Bradley Cooper as Rocket, and Vin Diesel returning as the voice of Baby Groot. James Gunn is also returning as the director of the film, and I really enjoyed this movie. Now, is it as good as the first one? In some parts, yes, and in other parts, no. But I think this is a very solid addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy films, and I cannot wait to see another one. So first, I'm going to give you guys what I enjoyed about the movie, then I'm going to tell you what I did not like about the movie so much, non-spoilers. So Volume 2 picks up with the Guardians on a mission hired by this species called the Sovereign? The Gold People? I'll get into those guys later. But they are pretty much on a mission, and that's where our adventure picks off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, the same group that we knew and loved from the first film. The film then picks up on the mystery established in the first film of who Peter Quill's father is. Enter Kurt Russell as Ego the Living Planet. So Kurt Russell is a new addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I will say he is really good in the film. I really liked his relationship with Chris Pratt and the characters of this father-son relationship that the characters have never seen before. What the film does very well is it keeps establishing these characters as the ones we know and really delves deeper into their past relationships and their relationships with each other. One of these relationships being Rocket Raccoon and Yondu, the leader of the Ravagers from the last film. Now, I found this relationship very compelling, and honestly, Yondu, being my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy character from the first film, so much more to do in this movie, and it's amazing. What they do with his character truly is the best character arc in the film, and I think the best arc in the first film as well. They do this very well. They also dive deeper in the relationship between Gamora and her sister Nebula, and pretty much how they grew up. They were raised by Thanos, the biggest villain in the universe. This must have not been a good time for either of them, and James Gunn really explores what it was like without even having Thanos in the movie. Peter Quill's journey in the film is also very interesting, him meeting his father Ego and their relationship throughout the last half of the film. You meet Ego pretty early on in the film, and you really get to see Peter and Ego bond throughout, and some of the interesting twists and turns that they have with these characters is very compelling, and I really enjoyed most of this stuff that they had in there. The only character that really didn't have much to do is Drax. However, he did have one of the best lines in comedy in the film. In the first film, Drax's backstory is already pretty much fully established, and there's really not much for them to do with the character, at least that I can think of. So I think how James Gunn used the character throughout the movie is very effective. A new character introduced into the Guardians of the Galaxy is Mantis, who is pretty much a follower of Ego, and pretty much the only other character that interacts with Ego before meeting with the Guardians. I thought Mantis was a pretty interesting character. I would love to see more with her. There just wasn't too much to really make her as interesting as the other Guardians, because a lot of time was spent with all these characters, and it's very hard to balance a film like this with so many characters. And I think James Gunn really did a good job at doing his best with giving each character enough screen time, and I think he did a really good job with it being one of the best aspects of the film, is just these characters. I feel like this film really explored these characters a lot better than the first one, even though they were so great in there as well. I think that is one of the real strengths of this film, and I praise James Gunn for doing so much more with these characters than we thought he possibly could. Another part of Guardians of the Galaxy that transferred over to the second film is the humor. Of course, it's going to be throughout this film, and I think there's a lot more of it, and a lot of it hits. This film is hilarious from beginning to end. The opening credits, though it's not as good as the first one, Baby Groot is amazing in these opening credits, and how do you not like Baby Groot? He is adorable. Whenever Baby Groot is on screen, you can't help but to laugh and to have a huge smile on your face for him being absolutely adorable and for him being hilarious throughout the film, and such a creative and smart idea for them to capitalize on these characters, and they're going to sell so many toys. Now, although all the characters are great in the film, the story itself is not as strong as the first one. I will agree with some critics saying that the first, I would say like 30 to 40 minutes, you really don't know what the story is, and isn't explained at all. They're just kind of on a mission. Although the stuff that happens in the film with the characters is great in those first 40 minutes, it really doesn't have anything to do with the overall story. Towards the beginning of the film, the Guardians piss off these golden species. I think they're called the Sovereign, and they're pretty much always like interrupting everything that the Guardians is doing, and it's kind of irritating because they really aren't the most compelling villains in the Marvel universe. Like, Marvel doesn't have good villains to start with, and these things were just kind of irritating throughout. Although I think a little bit of the humor with these characters and kind of the style that James Gunn did was pretty clever. They were just kind of irritating, just there to be cannon fodder, and it really didn't add much to the story. Now, like I said, I pretty much liked everything that Ego had, except for the things that I didn't like was there's a lot of exposition between him and Peter, which, I mean, it kind of is needed, but I feel like there could have been a better way to go about it. It is really exposition heavy once you get to that point in the film, and it's for a good reason, but it is exposition, and it's not really too compelling, and it kind of slows down in those sections of the film towards the middle. So like I said, the characters in this film are great, the humor is great, everything about it was just a lot of fun. The color palette, it looks incredible. All the special effects work for me. It's a great way to kick off the summer season, and I cannot wait for the other films this year. So that'll pretty much wrap up my non-spoiler review of the film. If you guys are a fan of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, you guys will find something in this movie that you will absolutely love. I will give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 an 8 out of 10. I would definitely recommend all of you guys to go see it. I would recommend seeing it in maybe Dolby or IMAX if you guys have one of those theaters. I'm going to see it in Dolby tomorrow night, which I'm so excited because I feel like it's the perfect Dolby movie. Just a lot of excitement, a lot of explosions, a lot of action, and I think they really stepped up on that stuff in the film as well. That'll be it for me. If you guys enjoyed hearing my unprofessional opinion of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. See you in the next review.